Hi guys. Okay. By the way, I'm Dr. Vignesh here. Okay. Right. Okay. Based on the request that I obtained from some SPSS participants and also some students who are keen in getting into the a sort of quantitative software that is SPSS. Okay. I thought of starting up with the creation of some basic videos on SPSS before moving on to the intermediate and the advanced features of SPSS as well. Okay, so here the thing is that some students or even some staffs or scholars feel the fact that the SPSS or so called as the that is an abbreviation for statistical packages for social sciences. Okay, right? So the scholars may be thinking that the fact that SPSS can only be used for research related to social sciences, okay, which is not true. Yeah, okay. So in my point of view, I feel that as long as you want to gauge the functions or so called as the functionalities within the SPSS, okay, as long as you meet up the requirements of that functionality, then you could even use the SPSS to work out the investigations or analysis, okay, quantitative analysis that are tied to social sciences and also sciences as well, right? So here, if we looked into the definition of SPSS, okay, SPSS is actually statistical packages for social sciences, okay, right? So I would also classify that as SPS, right? SPS is statistical packages for sciences as well. So SPSS is not only for social sciences, okay, I would use the both terms, right? Okay, so right now, since we are not actually diverting our mind towards the unique structures of it, not even within the structure of sciences or social sciences. Okay, now we are keen in looking into the basic structures of SPSS first, and then probably in the next few videos, we will be interested in looking into the examples of data that are related to sciences and also social sciences as well, and we could see how things will work out with that. Yeah, okay, right. So let me first begin with the introductions on the structures of it. Yeah, okay. So here, if you observe, okay, right, SPSS is like a matrix, okay, where you have the rows and you have a columns of it, okay, right. Usually the columns will represent the variables, or so called as the var, okay, the var here, okay. The values are so called as statements, okay, right. In SPSS we classify statements as string, string, string. Yeah, okay. So I'll explain to you the in-depth natures of sort of SPSS here. Okay, so here if you observe the column structures of it, you observe that there's a var here. Var refers to variables. Okay, right. So there are two portions over here: data view and variable view. Okay, a data view is the whole set of data that you will be getting, right? You'll be getting from the structures of it. Okay, right. So yeah. So guys, as I mentioned to you earlier, okay, right. So here, if you observe, the full structures of SPSS looks like matrix where columns times with the rows. Yeah, okay, right. Obviously, it can work out in different ways as well. Rows times columns as well. Okay, right. So here we have two different perspectives here. One is a data view, another one is a variable view. Okay, right. So the main difference between a data view and variable view is that a data view is a sort of a form or structure in which you can observe the full data structures, okay, including the names of respondents if you are going for that. But usually when it comes to a qualitative research, okay, that can be quantifiable, like example the survey and so on, you wouldn't be asking about the names of the respondents because it's a sort of sensitive feature as well. Okay, right? So instead of going for name, so you can just put up an alphabet if you want to. Yeah, okay. So usually, in order to avoid any sort of confusions or dissatisfactions among the respondents, okay, or among the subjects, okay, so usually we will go for a consent form, right? Okay, where we will get their permissions on whether to put up their names and so on, okay, right? Even there are some major research requires the names of respondents as well. So when it comes to medical sort of medical sciences, in which testing up the usefulness of the instruments, medical instruments and all those things, right? Okay, so now coming back to this part, right? Okay, the thing here is that, okay, as I mentioned to you earlier, so that is the data view where we can view the whole structures of your data, including the variables and so on, okay. But you wouldn't know the attributes of the variables or attributes of the values as well, okay, right? So the variable view is the structure that will give you the overview on the attributes or characteristics of the variables or the values that you're entering, right? So you may have to be careful in structuring out your the names of your variables, right? I'm meaning to say the measurements of it as well, okay, right? Because when we divide the variables, we are actually dividing it into two different portions. One is a qualitative, another one is a quantitative variables, okay, right? So when you say qualitative variables, we used to use that in a more fixed term, a constant term actually, okay, that is being divided into two different portions. One is a ordinal, another one is a nominal as well, right? The word ordinal means orders, okay, when you're talking about the ranking within the organizations, or when you're talking about the schooling level and so on, you are starting from the lower level up to the higher level, okay. That is where we will tend to use the ordinal structures, yeah, okay. When it comes to nominal structures, usually it doesn't follow a fixed orders, okay, right? Like for example, gender, male and female, or you can say, like for example, a yes or no, right? Okay, so married or single, right? Or divorcee and all those things, okay. That doesn't really require a sort of a fixed ordering to it, okay. So we only have these two terms, okay. Obviously, as what I've indicated to you, the ordinal and the nominal structures within the survey form or within the subject basis, it's being reflected as a qualitative variables. But later on, when we key in the values, or so-called as the numbers, into SPSS, we change the qualitative variables into a more quantifiable values, okay. So that is where we will start to put an order. Like for example, male we can use a 0, right? And female we can use 1, or it can be interchangeable, right? Okay, so that is how it works out, yeah, okay. So over here, that is the variable view structures, okay. So here, so data view, like for example, let's say you are putting up a 1 2, right? You are putting up a 3, okay, right? 13, okay. So over here, if you observe, right, okay, there is a var 000 triple zero 4 zeros and 1 here, okay. So that is because you haven't classified or you haven't defined the variable name yet, okay. So when you go through here, can you observe there's a decimal point here, okay. So if you view the variable view, okay, if we go to the variable view, okay, you observe that the numbers that you entered is numeric, it's not a statement or string, okay. So here you can go and change, let's say you can say, for example, we are doing testing, right? Okay, testing 1, okay, right. So here you can expand the width, the length of it, okay. So what you can do is that you can keep on expanding this, okay. But usually this may not be advisable, as you are referring to only numbers, okay. If you are talking about the statements, or if you're talking about the string line, then it's worth it for you to increase the width of it, okay. Otherwise, for numbers, I think it's unnecessary, yeah, okay. Decimal, if you want a decimal, you can put it up, you can go up to 2 actually. Usually we would advise the students or the researchers to go for the two basis, okay, to systemize the structure, the presentation wise, okay. So now let's say if I prefer not to put up the decimals, I can make it as a zero, okay. So if I make it as a zero here, so if we go back to the data view, right, okay, you observe here is being reflected, there's no more 0.00 here, okay. So that is how this is being reflected, okay, right. So when okay, let's get back to the variable view as well, okay. Here if we have a label, then you can put up, like for example, if you want to put up testing 1, that's up to you, but this label will appear when you want to work out the analysis for it, okay, right. Labels will come into the picture if you're going to, if we have a proper structures of team and so on, okay. Values are not necessary, okay. You're not going to enter anything because the numbers that you're going to put up are sort of continuous. These values will come into the picture only for ordinal and nominal structures, okay. It doesn't applicable to it does not apply to continuous variables, okay, right. Okay, so if we refer to continuous variables, we have a ratio, we have an interval, we have a ratio and the main one will be a ratio and interval, okay. Ratio, if you're talking about the age of person, okay, that is actually a ratio, the exact sort of value, right, okay. But interval means you have the starting, you have an ending to it. Like for example, if I say that the temperature of a person is between 30 to 38, that means I'm not putting up any fixed number to it, okay. So usually we will use it in the context of age actually, yeah, okay, where we have an interval sort of thing. But that again depends whether you're going to classify that as a interval or you're going to classify that as ordinal structures or nominal. That depends, very much depends on the nature of the study as well, okay. So we will look at that in the next few videos as well, okay. So here unknown, here if you refer to this, you have a scale, you have ordinal, you have a nominal. Right now I'm actually entering a continuous values, right. So I would go for scale represents the continuous variables, and whereas the ordinal and nominal actually refers to a qualitative variables that can be quantifiable, okay. So what you're entering here is, you see here will be the input part of it. This one you leave it, I mean you don't really have to disturb this part of it, or just leave it as input of it, okay. It doesn't matter, right. Okay, so guys, I'll catch up with you in the next videos here, okay. So until then, all the best to you, right. Take care, yeah, okay. If you have any questions, you can send it to me, yeah, okay. You can also put up a description to me, yeah, okay. My email address is vigneshgopal@yahoo.com, vignesgopal@yahoo.com, yeah, okay. So if you have any queries about the SPSS, okay, since this is just a basic tool, I'm just starting up I'm towards the creation of video. So please do not feel hesitate to get back to me, yeah. Thank you.